So in 1187, the fight for the Holy Land saw its next twist in the tale, as Saladin laid siege to the holy city of Jerusalem as he looked to rip the beating heart out of the crusader states. Through conquest, Saladin had united the Muslim states in Syria and Egypt, forming a noose around the Christian states, where their only escape was by sea. However, instead of striking directly at the Crusader states, he preferred to make a truce with them while he dealt with problems further into Syria. The Christians were probably also pretty eager to accept the truces with Saladin, as they lacked sizable manpower, as there hadn't been a major crusade in 40 years since the second, and the heavily hated Guy of Lusignan held the crown of Jerusalem along with his wife Sibylla. The only thing keeping the nobles from turning on Guy was the ever-growing threat of Saladin, who in 1186 was given ample reason to attack the Crusaders, as Reynald of Chatillon, Lord of Ultray-Jordan, attacked a merchant caravan while the truce was still in place, and Saladin launched a jihad against the Kingdom of Jerusalem, vowing to kill Reynald personally. In May 1187, the first action took place at Cresson, where just over 100 knights of the Hospitallers and Templars and a few hundred more infantry charged blindly into an overwhelming Muslim force numbering anywhere from 700 to 7,000 and were subsequently slaughtered. However, things would go from bad to worse for the Crusaders at the Battle of Hattin a few months later, where every able-bodied man was summoned to defend the kingdom against the might of Saladin, numbering roughly 20,000, where they marched under the True Cross, a relic said to be where Christ was actually crucified, a symbol for everything the Christians fought for. Saladin's forces numbered up to 40,000, where he struck right at the heart of the Crusader conflicts by luring them away from their safe encampments, because the Crusaders didn't want to seem weak by not launching an assault, where Saladin quickly encircled them and cut them off from their fresh water supplies in the boiling heat. Their horrendous thirst was worsened as the Muslims set fire to dry shrubs, filling the air with choking smoke, as the next morning the encircled Crusaders were continually harassed by Muslim horse archers, where they repeatedly led failed cavalry charges to try and break the encirclement, where eventually the exhausted Crusaders were slaughtered. Many nobles and knights of the Crusading Order were captured, where Guy of Lusignan was offered a cup of water by Saladin, a sign in Muslim culture that he would be spared. However, he was unaware of this custom, so he passed the cup to Reynald of Chatillon, where Saladin quickly struck it out of his hands, saying he did not wish this evil man to drink. Saladin's revenge on Reynald was a stroke of the sword to behead him, with around 200 of the captured Hospitallers and Templars also being beheaded one by one, and with this victory and slaughter of almost every able-bodied fighting Christian man, the Holy Land soon fell to Muslim conquest. All eyes were now set on Jerusalem as the last bastion of Christian defence, with the defences led by Balian of Ibelin, who had come to Jerusalem from Tyre, another city which had held out against Saladin to retrieve his wife Maria Komnene, the Queen of Jerusalem. Balian's terms of safe passage was that he was not to take up arms against Saladin. However, when he arrived in the city, he was begged to take control of its defence, and what he would have seen was a sorry sight, as there was only around 15 available knights, so he had to make 60 new ones from the available squires, and there was thousands of refugees in the city, with more arriving daily. The defences of the city were also severely suboptimal, lacking any sort of ditches to stop Saladin's siege engines. With the Crusaders holding Jerusalem since 1099, it was clear since that time they had never read any military textbook, as they never learnt the importance of the old medieval saying that if you make ditches, you get bitches. Although the crusading orders of the Hospitallers and Templars did swear vows of chastity in their oaths, so maybe the lack of ditches was by design. For a week from the 20th of September, the city was constantly pounded by stone throwers, arrows and Greek fire, where the defenders managed to beat off numerous skirmishes and siege towers. However, just over a week after the siege had begun, sappers managed to collapse a section of the wall. A fierce last stand held off the Muslim assault at the breach, however it soon descended into a stalemate as the Muslims couldn't gain a foothold into the city and the defenders couldn't push them back, with their numbers already dwindling and they couldn't find any more men within the city to reinforce them. After 8 days of relentless pounding, Balian finally realised the situation was hopeless, agreeing a truce with Saladin that the Christians could ransom themselves for freedom, with the fall of Jerusalem and the massacre at Hattin finally bringing some life back into the Crusader movement in the West.